My friends, I stand before you today not by chance or coincidence, but by divine appointment. And you, yes, you, are not here by accident either. There are no accidents in the kingdom of heaven. Only appointments we recognize and appointments we miss. I want to speak to you today about a pattern I've discovered through years of studying ancient wisdom. A pattern that the modern mind often dismisses, but that carries profound implications for your life, your purpose, and your destiny. This pattern concerns divine timing, specifically what happens at the closing of seasons. God said it's all planned for the end of April. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. Is he giving us a specific prophecy about a particular April? No, my friends. I'm revealing something far more profound, a pattern woven into the very fabric of creation itself. In the ancient Hebrew calendar, the transition from the month of Nisan to Iyar occurs near what we call the end of April. This transition carries tremendous prophetic significance that most of us have overlooked. Consider the patterns established thousands of years ago. It was at the end of April when the ancient Hebrews completed their first month of freedom after leaving Egypt. Think about that. After 400 years of bondage, they had experienced liberation, crossed the Red Sea, and now stood at the threshold of their journey to the Promised Land. The end of April marked their transition from a mindset of slavery to a mindset of destiny. It was near the end of April when the waters of the Jordan River parted, allowing a new generation to cross over into their inheritance. The wilderness wandering was over. The time of possession had come. It was at the end of April when the walls of Jericho fell, not by human might or power, but through divine intervention, when human obedience aligned with divine instruction. Do you see the pattern emerging? The end of April consistently appears in ancient accounts as a time of transition, from bondage to freedom, from wandering to possession, from impossibility to miraculous intervention. Now, I'm not a date setter. I'm a pattern recognizer. And what I've discovered is that our lives often follow the same spiritual rhythms established in antiquity. Many of you have been in a spiritual winter. You've been faithful. You've been patient. You've endured hardship and wondered if your breakthrough would ever come. You've questioned whether the dreams placed in your heart were merely your imagination or truly divine seeds of purpose. The ancient Hebrew sages understood something we've forgotten in our modern rush. They recognized that just as there are seasons in the natural world, there are seasons in the spiritual realm. Winter doesn't last forever. Dormant seasons serve a purpose, but they were never meant to be permanent. In Jerusalem, the almond tree, called the Watcher or the Awakener in Hebrew, blossoms at winter's end, traditionally near the conclusion of April. It serves as heaven's timekeeper, nature's declaration that the season of dormancy is concluding and the season of fruitfulness is beginning. My friends, I believe many of you are almond trees about to blossom. You've been in a winter season, a time of preparation, a time of root development beneath the surface where no one could see your growth. But heaven has been watching, and heaven has been working. What appears as delay is often divine positioning. What feels like denial is frequently heaven's protection. Your wilderness was not punishment. It was preparation. Your Red Sea wasn't meant to drown you. It was placed before you to reveal God's power through you. I've discovered something remarkable about divine transitions. They almost always require both a letting go and a taking hold. Before the ancient Hebrews could enter their promised land, they had to let go of their slave mentality. Before Jericho's walls could fall, Joshua had to let go of conventional military strategy and take hold of divine instruction that made no logical sense. Some of you have been trying to birth your future while still clinging to your past. You've been attempting to enter new territory while gripping the familiar. But divine transitions require courageous release before miraculous receiving. Let me tell you about a man I met in my travels. He was brilliantly educated, multiple degrees, respected in his field, financially secure, by all external measures, tremendously successful. But when I looked into his eyes, I saw emptiness. When we spoke privately, he confessed that despite his achievements, he felt hollow inside. I've climbed the ladder, he told me, only to discover it was leaning against the wrong wall. His story is more common than we acknowledge. So many today have achieved what culture calls success, while missing what heaven calls purpose. They've gained the world's applause while never hearing the divine affirmation, "Well done." This man's breakthrough came when he finally surrendered his self-constructed identity and embraced his heaven-ordained destiny. It happened, and yes, this detail amazed even me, at the end of April 2 years ago. He described it as the death of who I pretended to be and the birth of who I was created to be. Within 6 months, he had restructured his entire life around his true purpose. Today, he impacts thousands, not through position or power, but through aligned purpose. His resources now serve his calling, rather than his calling being sacrificed for resources. My friends, you were created for such a time as this. Before your first breath, heaven knew your name. Before your first step, your purpose was established. Your life is not random chance or cosmic accident. It is divine intention unfolding in human experience. Some of you have felt forgotten. Some have wondered if your mistakes have disqualified you from your destiny. Others have grown comfortable in compromise, settling for less than the fullness heaven intended. But I declare to you today, the time of transition is upon us. The season of almost but not quite is concluding. The period of preparation, though necessary, is completing its work. The ancient Hebrew prophets understood that heaven operates according to divine timing. They recognize that breakthrough doesn't come through human striving alone, but through the convergence of human readiness and divine appointment. Are you ready? This is the critical question. Readiness isn't measured by perfection, but by surrender. It's determined not by flawlessness, but by willingness. The end of April, symbolically speaking, represents that divine transition point where human readiness meets heavenly timing. It's that sacred moment when what was planted in tears is harvested with joy, when what was sown in faith manifests in sight. But hear me clearly. Divine appointments can be missed. Sacred moments can pass unrecognized. The ancient texts are filled with accounts of those who stood at the threshold of destiny but retreated to the familiar, who heard the call but chose comfort over courage. Don't be counted among those who almost fulfilled their purpose. Don't join the ranks of those who nearly stepped into greatness, but hesitated at the critical moment. Throughout human history, the most significant breakthroughs have come to those who recognized their moment of divine appointment and responded with bold obedience. They weren't necessarily the most talented, the most educated, or the most privileged. They were simply the most responsive to heaven's timing. Moses at the burning bush, Esther before the king, David facing Goliath. In each case, an ordinary person stood at an extraordinary intersection of divine timing and human response. In each instance, history pivoted on the hinge of their decision. My friends, many of you are standing at your burning bush moment right now. Some of you face your Goliath today. Others are positioned like Esther for such a time as this. What will you do with your divine appointment? I believe we are collectively approaching a season of unprecedented opportunity. Open doors that no man can shut, divine connections that no circumstance can prevent. But these opportunities will require eyes that see beyond natural limitations, ears attuned to heaven's frequency, and hearts fully surrendered to divine purpose. The end of April, both literally in our calendar and symbolically in our spiritual journeys, often marks that transition point where perseverance finally meets manifestation, where long-held promises begin their fulfillment. Let me be clear, I'm not suggesting that everyone will experience breakthrough on the same calendar date. Rather, I'm revealing that each life contains end-of-April moments, divine transition points where seasons change, where winter gives way to spring, where what was dormant suddenly blossoms. For some listening today, you're approaching that divine moment right now. You've endured your winter. You've remained faithful through your wilderness. You've continued believing despite delays and disappointments. I prophetically declare, your end of April is coming. Your transition moment approaches. The divine appointment set before the foundation of the world is about to intersect with your journey in time. But you must be positioned correctly to receive it. Position yourselves through 1. Intentional preparation. Remove everything that hinders your readiness. 2. Courageous release. Let go of what belongs to your past season. 3. Bold expectation. Look for heaven's hand in unexpected places. 4. Immediate obedience. When divine instruction comes, delays are dangerous. Remember the ancient pattern. Breakthrough often comes after the most intense resistance. The darkest hour truly does precede the dawn. The Red Sea parts at the moment when both pursuit from behind and obstacle ahead seem most threatening. My friends, your breakthrough isn't just about you. Your destiny fulfillment becomes heaven's testimony to others. Your wilderness crossing creates a path for those who will follow. Your Jericho victory will inspire others facing impossible walls. God said it's all planned for the end of April. Your divine appointment awaits. Your season of transition approaches. The winter of your waiting is concluding. The almond branch of your destiny is about to blossom. Will you recognize it? Will you respond to it? Will you step through the door? Heaven is opening before you. The ancient Hebrew blessing seems particularly fitting for this moment. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. And may you walk in the unshakable confidence that your life matters more than you know. Your purpose is greater than you imagine. And your divine appointment is coming right on heaven's perfect schedule. The end of April, your spiritual transition point, awaits. Be ready, be watchful, be courageous. Your destiny depends on it.